Everybody say it mean.
Who's that out there living the dream? Let's blow in the bean. Who's that still smoking all that green? Let's blow in the bean. Come on, y'all, let me hear you scream. Let's blow in the bean. Let's blow in the bean. Let's blow in the bean. Go.
Hello, hello, hello. What a wonderful weekend of fights. We're finally in our off-season, I would say. It's been a good 11 weeks straight of non-stop fights, and finally we're going to get the rest of the month without any fights. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. What do you think is going to happen to you in this amount of time?
I have no idea what I'm going to do. We should spend this couple of weeks to get ready.
Yeah.
We should
Probably a
get
good call.
YouTube ready.
We'll probably end up doing more along those lines, but we're going to have the time. We're going to have the time. There's still a lot of chatter going around. I mean, we're going to go over this amazing 114 card to cap off this big long stretch that we've been having. People were talking a lot of trash on this card. We weren't, and guess what? It lived up to the expectation and more so. It was definitely a great night of fights. Do we want to start from the bottom up? Where do we want to start?
Let's start from the bottom up. Let's give everyone their due.
So, Randini versus
Rinaldi.
Rinaldi versus Herrera. That was a first round submission. He was one of the highest priced guys on DK. He was like debuting at 9192. He showed why he was so expensive, but still, be careful with Rinaldi.
I stayed away from this fight.
Yeah, I stayed away from it as well. But you did get good money. Well, he got you a lot of points with that first round submission. Moving on to the next fight, we had Joseph Morales winning a submission rear naked choke versus Sanchez. Morales was the underdog on this card. He came in, a lot of people thought that on the ground Sanchez was going to have his number. I did as well. Guess what? That didn't happen. Morales cut through Sanchez. Didn't have any problem at all. Was that the Randini? Oh, quickly with the Randini, the first submission of the night. Rinaldi. It was a Ezekiel choke. Did you see that?
Yes, it wasn't a Von Fluke choke.
Oh, it was. God dang it. It was a Von Fluke choke. An OSP Von Fluke choke. Only the fourth ever. You're totally right on that.
And I read that. I did not know it in my brain.
Totally right. So we started off this card with 2 submissions first round. That was a fun fight pass. Then we went right into the FS1 with Quinones winning a unanimous decision over Rivas. Quinones outworked Rivas the whole fight. Rivas was just coming off of a bout with cancer. I believe he did have a testicle removed. And
wow.
Yeah, exactly. He looked good. Quinones just looked a little bit better all the way around. The combinations that Quinones was throwing were winning the fight for him in my eyes. He was throwing 3, 4, 5 punches where Rivas was throwing 1s and 2s and then just 1s and then just gas slowly. Good win. I'm going to be watching both of them.
What did you said? Quinones was throwing 1s and 2s and Rivas is just 1s? That's just cruel, man. That's just cruel, man. But yeah. Moving on. Yeah, both guys, I totally agree with you where it's not going to make me like, oh, I'm going to put this guy on everything from here on out. I agree.
I'm going to keep watching them, but neither of them showed me anything that was going to make me put money all over them next fight coming up. Moving on.
I think the same can be said about moving on.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Hani Yaya versus Enrique Briones. This was also a first round submission. This actually I found much more interesting. Briones was the underdog. It was just Yaya. Yaya got in trouble earlier in his career because he did what we talked about regularly on the show where he became a striker when his real ground game was what got him there. This fight showed us immediately in the first 30 seconds how to take down. Briones never got up. Submission came through. I feel like Yaya is going to start to implement that Damian Maia method because he saw that Damian Maia just got a title shot at that one facet. I don't like Briones. I think Briones is a little bit older. He's already fought in his best fights. I think that I'm going to fade him against other people as well. Yaya, I'm going to really keep an eye out on him because people with bad takedown defense or suspect submission ground games are always going to be at a big detriment against a fighter like Yaya. So there's money to be had on that man.
Maybe later on. I'm still not really excited about him. The win isn't Not that any
It's not
win,
caliber.
not to, yeah, it's not something that going against the upper echelon guys that's going to make me scared. Like, I still would, there's most of the guys still in the top 10 I would put money on over Yaya. But, and I think he's an older guy. I could be wrong on that. I don't know how much time he has to
I think he
expand.
might be like 32, but he's been in the jiu-jitsu / maybe he's older than that.
But if enough fights go on that first round, he took a couple of shots. If enough fights go on where his chin where he doesn't seem chinny and the knockout was just a rare thing, then maybe. But yeah, I don't have any match makes for Yaya or anything yet. But when we get up to the next fights, I think we should pick out where we'd like him to go from there. Who we'd like to see him fight next.
Oh, whoa, okay, yeah, there's some guys. What I really liked on this show was that they really didn't put too big of guys on the show. I feel like UFC learned from their previous Mexico shows that 205 and above aren't fun fights up at altitude. It just the gas tank is gone, and they really kept this light. It was really a lot of lightweight fights on this. But guess what? We just had one of the fights of the cards of the year. I'd say this is up there with a lot of other ones.
Don't you think this fight card had more finishes than anything you've seen of recent?
It was up there. It was a pretty unbelievable, the amount of finishes. So moving on to the next fight, we had a quick finish between Dustin, my boy Ortiz, defeating Hector Sandoval. This was, I'd say, somewhat of a flash knockout, only because Sandoval came in hands down and taunting before anything got up. This was a 15-second KO. Or they touched hands. Sandoval lowered his hands and threw him like a juke, like, what's up? I ain't scared of you. And Ortiz just threw an overhand right. That stunned Sandoval clearly out. Nobody saw a knockout come in for Ortiz. I didn't see it. I thought it was going to be a decision. It was more so Sandoval. I mean, Ortiz took the shot because he saw it, but I think that was Sandoval's fault.
It was a jaw wobbler. Yeah, it knocked him out. It hit the perfect spot at the end of his chin, it looked like to me.
And no guard up. You
clink.
can look back at it. His hand is
Clink.
down at his hip. So I think that's a slip on Sandoval. Ortiz, still got to be watching him. Do not think that he's some sort of power fighter all of a sudden, guys, and expect him to be knocking out other people.
Agreed.
It's not going to happen.
And even the punch that he threw was in defense. It was a defensive throw.
That's exactly it. He was backing up.
Yeah,
Yep, that was exactly it. Exactly it. But with Sandoval, I mean, fight IQ wise, this is a American top team guy. Wrestling's there, striking's supposed to be there. His chin might be a little suspect because Dustin Ortiz does not have that type of power.
But I felt like it was just the home run shot. It was just
it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, looked, the way it wobbled his jaw was whoa, and the way it wobbled him, it looked like the reverberation went from his jaw all the way down.
Oh yeah, you saw him wiggle. You saw him. Bleh.
I hope. I like Sandoval. I really hope it's that. And all the greats, to me, with the exception of John Jones, have that one shitty fight that made them great. So I hope for Sandoval's sake, he really... I hope he's not chinny. He's from the right team. He has the right look to me.
He's still young
in
the
He's young.
Organization. He's
and
only
Dustin
had a few
Ortiz
fights.
isn't a schlub.
Agreed. I do think people were overlooking Ortiz a little bit in this fight. I know Evil Twin was all over Sandoval and a couple other fighters that didn't come through. Moving on, we had Jack Hermanson defeating Brad Scott via TKO in the first round. What I absolutely loved about this fight was the complete ending with Jack Hermanson when he got on the mic and said, hey, I'm an okay striker, but nobody can stand with me on the ground, or nobody can...
Go to the ground with me.
Exactly. His ground and pound was vicious. As soon as Hermanson got him down, which was in the first minute of the fight, Brad Scott didn't have a chance. It was just Hermanson moving position until he ground and pound him. I mean, it was just ground and pound the whole fight. Really cashed in on Hermanson on this when I had him on a lot of my cards.
So what do you think? Where do you think? Do you buy the hype train with Hermanson? Are you on board?
I don't, because exactly as I said, Brad Scott don't got no damn takedown defense and he ain't got no good ground game. So against someone that can keep it standing, like we've seen before with Hermanson, people can beat him standing and wear him out a bit. But he's a guy to watch. I like Hermanson. I don't think the hype should be all the way there because Brad Scott isn't the highest caliber yet. So I think
like
Scott's on his way out.
of UFC.
Yeah,
he's Hermanson. We'll be watching him for some time to come.
I think Scott is on his way out of the UFC as well. I just feel like he looked completely overmatched, where I think Hermanson isn't going to do that to too many other guys in the division.
Where do you want Hermanson to go next? 185?
I think...
He's a little guy for 185.
Yeah, I think so too. He
He's
didn't look like the
shredded.
biggest. What would be a good fight for him at 185? Ooh,
Alvey?
that would be a good one. Hermanson, though, because Scott isn't even in the top 15 or anything like that, I still think he could have somebody outside of that top. I really liked the guy off the Contender Series at 185 that just got that head kick knockout last week.
LaPrice?
No. He got a head kick knockout on the Contender Series.
Oh, last week.
Joaquin Martinez or something like that. It was all over. It made it to ESPN. It was one of the most brutal kicks ever. I think that dude's 185. For Hermanson, that dude was good on the ground. He was thick. Yeah, maybe not, because he's going to debut in the UFC. Hermanson's had 3 or 4 fights.
Anyway.
Yep, Uriah Hall. There you go. That's what I want. Uriah Hall versus Hermanson.
Enough.
I think that's good enough. Right outside the top
He's
15.
the gatekeeper.
Exactly. Yep. And he's standing who has good takedown defense. That's going to prove whether Hermanson's that
Big
next
old
step or
tree
not.
trunk, woodly legs.
Yeah, it's not easy to get him down, but it can be done. Moving on to the next fight, we had Alejandro Perez defeating Andre Sohamthath via 3-round decision. I had this one right, but this was out of the skin of my teeth. I think that this fight was also a little home cooking. We had many instances this fight night of home cooking where the judges might have been a little Mexican. They might have had a little bit of tequila in their water. Because I felt like, even though I had Perez, Sohamthath could have won this
but
fight.
They may have been listening to mariachi music on their way in.
So, the thing that I will say with Sohamthath is I think that
Not
it was
trying
1-1
to call them out, but maybe they like Lucas powder.
on their mangoes and corn.
Just saying.
So Sohamthath, I thought, gave it away in the 3rd round because I thought it was 1-1 going into the 3rd. And Sohamthath, to me, had the 3rd round up until the last 10 seconds. He threw the cartwheel kick, and instead of completing it, he fell. And then Perez didn't go on top of him, but was standing. I think that takedown gave it enough to the judges. It was a split decision. It was a dirty split. How do you feel about where these two guys are going?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't care enough about either of these two guys. That's horrible.
I think Sohamthath has a brighter future than Perez. I think Perez, we're just starting to see some of the peaks with him. And even though Sohamthath has lost, I believe, his last 2 fights, which are his only fights in the UFC, they've been against top competition. But with that, he doesn't... For me, Sohamthath doesn't have that trigger. He doesn't have that switch. He has more of that Muay Thai kickboxing where it's a lot of rhythm, but people can figure that rhythm out. And then he doesn't have devastating power. And then if you can see that he needs to step it up, and he just, for me, I didn't see that click. It might come because he's still a young man, but like I'm saying, I'm going to keep an eye more on Sohamthath. I think that he can beat a couple guys in there. Perez, he's the guy who's gotten 3 split decisions in a row. He's the guy that it's like, okay, time to start fading Perez. I don't think I saw anything that really stuck out for me.
I agree, and he's not really bringing anything new to the table that you're expecting.
Exactly. You're not seeing the growth that you should see.
Change.
Where I did see, even in the loss for Sohamthath, I did see growth from his last fight. He had much better takedown defense. Moving on, we have Sam Alvey defeating Rashad Evans in a 3rd round decision. I don't think anybody saw this coming. I think everyone had the TKO or the decision for Rashad, and it was, I mean, what do we want
Sam
to...
Alvey?
Yeah, this was a split decision. It could have went to either fighter, and Sam Alvey either knocks you out or is in some of the worst fights of the year.
Sam Alvey is not an exciting fighter to watch. He walks around stalking with the fist up, waiting to throw the 1-2. He isn't very exciting. I still don't know if this should have been a split decision. I still think he won it handedly. I was surprised that Rashad, it was a split. I think this was a hometown favorite cooking. They love Rashad. Rashad has more of a fan favorite than Smiling Sam.
But it wasn't, but Sam Alvey won this one.
Yeah. I just think that it shouldn't have been a split decision.
Oh, you think that it was okay. Okay, I gotcha. I could have seen a split either way. There was 2 of those rounds that I'm like, I don't know who won that because nothing happened.
Yeah, that's true.
like what are they going to give it to? The guy that's pressuring or the guy that's countering? And it was just not the funnest fight in the world. So moving on with those guys. Alvey, he's teetering on that shot. He should have been out a while
I think
ago.
one of
We all
these
know
guys
that.
you throw against Hermason.
Alvey Hermason. Did you say that
Yeah,
already?
or Rashad Hermason. He insists on fighting.
Yeah.
I think Rashad should retire.
Agreed.
But he insists on fighting. Alvey's kind of a gatekeeper guy if you can make it past the basics.
Yep.
He has good takedown defense, so that would test Hermason. Test his stand-up game. You cannot get hit by Alvey that one shot, and
Right.
Hermason has been KO'd, so it's a dangerous...
That is a fun fight. I'd like to see that. And that because they both... Well, Hermason came off clean. I don't know about Alvey. They could fight because they're in that 3-month cycle. You'll see a lot of these guys fight on the same cards.
Yeah.
That's just usually how it goes. Moving on to the next fight, we had one of the biggest upsets of the night in Humberto Benigni defeating Martin Bravo in the first round, 26 seconds KO. I mean, right over the top.
This fight was a surprise to everyone, except me.
I was about to say, you listening to Lesbo and the Bean, you are getting some quality advice.
It helped every single one of my DraftKings cards. I was confident in my pick.
I
It
had
was very
Bravo in a couple.
inexpensive.
Woo!
I did not put Bravo on a thing. I put Bananini on maybe 40%, 30% of my
Wow.
cards. And every single one of
And
his
what were the
cards
percentages?
crashed.
Like 12%, 9%
No
of people
one
would
had
go?
him.
Yeah,
8%.
right? Exactly. It was going to be low. Where I was picking Alvey, that was like 43%.
Everybody thought Bravo was going to get a knockout. He
Yeah,
was hella
everybody. Or
expensive.
submission. Yep. And I had
submission,
Bravo
yeah.
in that. Dang. So, definitely looking out for both of these fighters. Even though Bravo lost, I think he can beat it. He can still have... He shouldn't get cut. I mean, they both debuted. So, he should still get another shot. Hey, Benigni... He's got some power in them hands. I'm going to want to see... It don't matter. Put him up against whoever.
Guy.
Yep.
We
didn't get to see much. So put him in with whoever. It doesn't matter.
I think it's kind of questionable when they put him in with whoever, though. If it's a guy that has, let's say they threw him in. Are they at the same division? No, they're not. I was going to say, with a guy like Ortiz. But nonetheless, let's say a guy like Ortiz, that style of fighter that you're
the grinder.
meh, who cares? Benigni, hype train, because that could happen with this. We could see a really quick hype train build after this guy.
Exactly.
And you're like... We don't know how he fights still in the UFC. Right. We saw him for a few seconds.
And all we know is Bravo. We don't know if he has a granite chin. He could have a baby chin, so it looked like a way bigger.
He might have never been punched.
Exactly. He could have. So definitely watch both of these guys. I think they still have good fights ahead of them. Fun fight. You should have watched it if you didn't get the chance. Moving on to our Lat B underdog pick of the week. Leslie Smith.
Pick of the week. Leslie Smith.
We were all day, every day in on Nico Price. We saw, it finished. I thought it was going to end up being a submission, but the striking was going to get it to the ground because Nico Price has got a little bit of heavy hands, and it didn't need to get there. Overhand right finished that fight
I
real
thought it was
quick.
going to be a knockout.
Round 1, a minute 44 into it. A right lands for Nico Price. They were feeling each other a little bit. This I am, though, even though I was in on Nico Price and thought he was going to win this fight, I am going to be a bit more cautious because Joe Band's been a little chinny. And I think that accentuates that knockout and makes it look better, especially Seth Baczynski has hurt Joe Band, which is a guy who really didn't hurt people and is now out of the UFC. So I'm saying all props to Price. I'm going to still be watching him.
Perfect
but
record Price.
Don't think that... he's got some ultra heavy hands because the people he's finished haven't had the best chins. Where does Joe Band go after this? He's on a couple fight skid now.
Joe Band doesn't really have to go anywhere. He has a big enough name in the UFC that he can decide at this point to fight however long he wants and continue to be on the main card for the rest of his career.
The announcing tables, what you're saying?
I don't think he's going to ever... He doesn't have enough personality. He's really good looking. But
really, really ridiculously good looking.
I don't even think he's the best looking
I
fighter
don't think
in the
so
UFC.
either. I don't think so either. I don't know why, but
he's just not my type.
There's way hunkier men. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think Rockhold's better looking. Rockhold's not my type either, but I just think he's better looking than Joe Band. But
would you be more of like a who's that guy?
Ooh, who's that guy?
A Luis Smoka or a Cyril? Who's Siri? Siri, who just retired. Book 35
Neither.
guys.
I don't think Smoka's cute at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. What about Yair or Kevin Gastelum or Weidman? I think those guys.
I think Kelvin's all right. He seems cuddly.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
He seems cuddly.
And then all the other models. Who do people giving props to? The redhead, the Irish Dragon. A lot of people like him. I didn't think he was that good looking. I don't think so at all.
I don't know at all. I don't think. I mean, it's more the personality.
Brad Tavares. I've always thought
he's an attractive man.
I thought he was a good-looking guy that never gets the credit for that.
I used to like the Spartan. Not so into that.
I think I've fallen off of that. I think the hair did more than anything for it, and it's kind of fallen off.
It was fun for a while.
And now he's gotten too big for his britches.
Yeah, I think I'm over Elias Theodore.
I
And
kind
his
of
fights
agree.
are kind of not exciting.
We know what's coming. So, moving on.
Yeah, Joe Ban. What about Joe Ban? Elias, they're in a different weight class.
Yeah.
But where's Nico Price go from here?
I could see Nico Price getting finally one of those top 15 guys. Because his stand-up and ground game are good, I'm good with whoever at 170 right now. You could give him... I'm spacing off the top of my head.
Because all I can think is top 5 right now is a monster.
I know. Masvidal, Cerrone, but those are too high. He needs somebody lower than that. Nico Price does.
Matt Brown.
There it is. He hasn't fought in a while.
Nico Brown's Matt Brown.
Yeah,
the immortal Matt Brown. That's perfect.
A great fight. That's a great fight.
Gnarly fight.
Yeah, that is a really fun fight. I like that. So get on at UFC. We know you listening. We know Joe Rogan's listening. We know Chael Sonnen's listening. We know Andy Bravo's listening. If you are listening to Lesbo and the Bean and you listen to their podcast later on in the week, we say it first. Proven multiple times over. Just say it. So moving on to the co-main event of the night, we had Alexis Grasso defeating Ronda Marcos via 3-round decision. This was a heavy fighter that came in with a UTI, 3 pounds over the weight limit in Alexis Grasso. If there was hometown cooking to ever be had, it happened tonight. You saw robbery in this fight specifically. I had Ronda Marcos on the show, and I switched after the weight cut. After I found out that she had...
And this is something when we can afford to have a second show in the week, we totally will, because once we will have eventually an after weight cut show, or after weigh-in show.
Right.
Because we think that really gives you the definitive breakdown on what's going on with everyone.
And how people are looking.
Because missing weight, we always talk about it within each other. Missing weight by 0.5 pounds is somebody who really tried to make weight,
somebody wore themselves out.
Somebody who misses weight by over 3 pounds did not try. They did not try to make that weight.
Way before that, had an extra little food, got another extra nap in, where Marcos, who does have a tough time cutting down the weight, was suffering all that time, so she came in feeling that even more. Those 3 pounds also transfer into fight weight, which, give or take 3 pounds, not that big of a deal, but as far as nutrition and what Grasso, she had more time to absorb that stuff. Then again, we know that she did have a UTI. If you've ever been on antibiotics, which she's more than likely on, she felt like a bag of bricks in there. I mean, I was recently on some antibiotics, and it makes you feel like a sack of shit. If that was really going on with her, I still think she lost that fight, and I think that the judges gave her that. I think the takedowns, like we were calling on the show, ended up coming in for Marcos. And the striking, I didn't think was one-sided either way. I thought it was 50-50 down the middle, so it goes to octagon control and takedowns, and I thought Marcos had that all 3 rounds.
And even the word significant strikes,
right.
That is so... what's the word where it's just
biased?
Yeah, it's just merely my opinion what I consider significant. To me, a strike is a strike.
Whatever lands.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's at 10% or 100.
Marcos threw a lot of punches on the ground. I feel like they didn't get credit for when I was looking at the fight metrics breakdown. But she had so many takedowns. She had advancement. She ruled in that. She had reversals. She ruled in that. And I really think that she got robbed from this fight. However, that's the best Ronda Marcos we're ever going to see, everyone. I picked her as well. I thought she got it robbed from her by the hometown girl. But it's something we should have thought about going into it, because we were both back and forth with our decision on this. So we thought if that would have just been the one thing we brought up on air, hometown favorite, we both might have changed our mind to Grasso, even before the weigh-ins.
Right.
This is the best I think we're ever going to see Ronda Marcos look. I think this is her peak. I think Grasso has fucking years to grow in the sport. I think we have 5 years of Grasso.
At least.
Yeah, at least. I think Grasso's next fight is Angela Hill.
Oh, that would be a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. I would love to see that fight. That would be a Fox and Friends main event. That ain't going to be no pay-per-view, but you're going to get that free on FS1 or BT Sports 2 or whatever you're watching.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and I even think they could put if the UFC is smart with their marketing, they put the Angela Hill Grasso maybe as the co-main to the Paige Van Zandt Jessica I fight. I think that would be very smart for all the fighters involved.
So we are breaking it at you right now. You were telling me about this earlier, and I'm really, as much as I bash on PVZ, there's not too many fights that I would say PVZ wins. And with this fight coming up, this is one I see PVZ, and you were having the exact opposite point because I know you love
opposite.
I know you love
I least favorite fighter in the UFC. PVZ, I'm never really a fan. I always question who she can beat and who they're actually going to throw against her next. We were actually talking about Paige Grasso, and I thought Paige had a good chance against
I'd say Grasso eats Paige alive.
I think but Paige at 125, that's interesting to me. I don't know. To me, Paige doesn't look like a girl who has trouble making 115.
Agreed.
So going up 10 pounds against somebody who was a 135er, that is crazy.
That's a good point.
Crazy to me. And Jessica when I saw her at the last weigh-ins right before her fight got canceled, never saw her look better than she did at those weigh-ins. So immediately after those weigh-ins, when I heard that she was going to move down in weight, 10 more pounds, holy hell. So, that makes her interesting to me purely because I think Paige has more skill set. I think Jessica her only skill set is that she has this Wrestling 101 pedigree.
Yeah.
I think that Wrestling 101 pedigree type thing with an extra weight wears out the other fighter in a boring decision.
So I'm going to be the exact opposite and say that I would think that PVZ has the more technical ability in there. With the striking ground game, it goes to but I don't know if she's ever made 125. If you're saying that she was this big, I don't remember her necessarily looking like that. But either way, if she has a hard weight cut, I feel like that can affect her negatively, giving Paige Van Zandt. Because if it's the first time she's made the 125 in her life, it can really hurt. That cut can really do damage to you. But I feel like Jessica I's fight IQ is so low. And she has done so many. She just gets tired. Low fight IQ, very hittable. PVZ can just throw rabid shots and win a decision. I don't think PVZ runs through her and makes her look like nothing, but I was really, really surprised that you came in for your girl. Jessica.
My girl. What if I'm a new fan of Jessica Evil Eye? I wish I could find a picture of her at her last weigh-in. She had the gray, like purple gray hair going on.
I do vaguely remember that.
She was cut as fuck, but then also her legs. I
were
never
huge.
seen ladies' legs look so
I do remember
muscular.
her legs now thinking that. But if she's that big, 10 pounds is a lot of weight because she didn't look like she had much fat on her if I'm half remembering it correctly. Jessica
Jessica Evil Eye. But Paige, I don't know. Jessica's been in the ring with a lot more experience than Paige.
I totally would agree that Jessica has much more, but still the fight IQ with multiple times. She's not shot when she needed to, and then overshot on people she didn't.
You're about to get a live reaction of what. And we aren't huge fans of Jessica I, but this picture, and you guys can look it up on Bloody Elbow, and you can put in Jessica I versus Aspen when the fight was canceled just recently here. Look at that broad.
Yeah, I'd say she definitely does look much more fit her than she's ever
looked, right?
Ever looked.
Just square across there. She used to have...
And that was at 135?
135.
Yeah.
So she would have 10 pounds there, right through here.
I don't see that weight coming out. I see like maybe 2 pounds coming off of her. Maybe. That's 8 more of water weight. And she probably cut a good amount of water weight prior to that. Like, I think that we need to watch her.
I think that's how she's walking around.
Oh, you don't think she cuts it off?
I think the new fighting style you're going to start seeing for women is the Shevchenko style, where that's how they're walking around. And that looks kind of like, I mean, she might have, 2 pounds more water weight on her.
Yeah.
And eating healthy. I think she's probably a very healthy eater anyway. I don't think she walks around like Amanda Nunes. I don't think she walks around 33 pounds heavier out of camp.
Right.
I think that's where you have to be. I think the women cannot do what the men are doing.
It's changing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're trying the weight cut the first time, second time, and they're like, holy hell, this isn't worth it. I felt like I was half of myself in the octagon. For women, I don't know how men cut weight, but I do know just for myself.
So you're saying she didn't cut weight for 135, so she has to 125?
Yeah, I bet she walks around at like 142 in her natural weight. So it's not crazy cut.
Fun fight. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, look at us talking about
Jessica I and
PVZ.
The one I'm more worried about.
The fight
no,
card?
I was about to get back to it real quick. The fight I'm really excited for, though, in that division is Thug Rose versus JJ. That is just going to be sure.
Oh, we can shred that up.
We'll get there. So, with the main event at 114, this went all 5 rounds. We had Brandon Moreno defeated by Sergio Pettis in a 5-round decision. Sergio Pettis taught you how to strike MMA 101. He did that UFC thing and picked Moreno apart. That head kick was there from round 1 till round 5. I mean, Moreno's a tough kid, but big looping punches that aren't set up show you what a tactician will do against you. Sergio Pettis was a surgeon in there. Was there a time that you saw Sergio get in any trouble in that fight?
The whole first round was all, I felt like mostly Moreno.
Yeah.
And then I think Sergio ended up giving away round 4. But we were talking about it during the fight and how he was feeling so secure point-wise that he'd made a couple weird mistakes that seemed like they hurt him a little bit in round 4. Not point-wise, but just physically hurt him a little bit. And then he turned it back on in round 5. Like, I can't just let this
he coasted
Holly Holmes away
round.
from me.
With that fight, the crowd was there with Moreno had his wife and kid there. Did you end up seeing that?
Yes.
Poor little baby girl in her. It's 2 a.m. or something like that in Mexico, and she's all. But that's Mexican moms at parties. They got their kids on the hip. The kid's passed out. You'll see little limp arms, head back, mouth open, flies getting down. No, there ain't no flies.
You grew up like that.
Hell yeah! We'd be at a party, it'd be like 2, 3 a.m. and we'd be asleep, and the older ones would be dragging the younger ones up, and we'd be like, all right, time to go. Then there's some kung fu on a cop car. My dad went away for a little time. It was pretty awesome. That's where I got my Bruce Lee chops from. Learning on cop car lights in Northern California. That's real life.
That's some real life lessons for you people.
Yep. Don't drink and drive with your kids in the car. You might do karate on cops. Do a little time.
A wee bit of time. Just a wee bit.
So,
hey, you know what? The one thing I have to say. Your dad's a real man. He didn't use any weapons but his hands.
I would agree with that. And this was back in the early 90s.
You could learn something from that, kids.
No. And he completely shut off a headlight of a cop car.
Like,
he fucking chopped that car.
Tired of
that car. Fucking chopped that shit
light.
so hard. I don't even fucking know. I was an infant. All I remember is the cop lights and crying. And then just like, shit. And I don't, yep. So, with the Moreno fight, we really saw that the hype train isn't all there. Oh, with Pettis, I love that he completely stayed away from the ground game. Even though it was boring-ish. I mean, this was a Woodley Maya-esque fight. Moreno really only had a shot on the ground. Everyone thought striking, but Pettis just kept it so far away in the striking.
Yeah.
And Moreno, anytime he tried to go to the ground, you saw in the first round, that's right, Pettis was most in trouble because that figure 4 lock, Moreno was around his back and just fighting completely that rear naked choke off. What I absolutely loved, go back to that fight if you want to see good.
And we even said 10-8 for the Moreno for the first round.
For the first round, that's true. So with Sergio Pettis, if you want to see 101 rear naked choke defense, go back to that first round. I remember telling you, like, he's not Chiesa in it, where he stops fighting the hands, lets it sink in, and he's going to flex out. Sergio Pettis is constantly not letting anything get under his chin.
He held the wrist the entire time.
Exactly. Never letting anything go. So definitely fall back on that. And you can see gems in that in Pettis' performance with not only that.
I felt like I was not impressed with Moreno.
Agreed.
And I even more so wasn't impressed with Sergio.
I think that either one of these fighters can get exposed in many other ways.
I think they're both going to be hype trains again going into their next fights.
Though I'm starting to get on that Pettis bandwagon. I think that he, with being able to stay off the ground after getting dominated, he pretty much had to win the rest of that fight after that first round, and he did because he wasn't the hometown favorite, and we were waiting for Moreno. Any reason for that fight to go to Moreno, they were trying to do it, and Pettis just showed that in the rest of those last 4 rounds. Like I was saying, I really liked his submission and takedown defense. I think that can keep him in winning decisions. I don't think, though, Pettis is going to be a knockout fighter like his brother. I feel like he's going to end up being a decision fighter, like a GSP, like okay, I can shoot on you and I can stop all your submissions,
I don't
and
know.
then I can outpoint you.
I don't think Moreno's so next level. I think he's going to get harder. There's better...
People are figuring him out, too.
I think there's better guys than Moreno in this division as far as a ground game is concerned.
The division is finally opening up. I'm really excited for where these guys are going.
It's not super deep with the guys that haven't fought Mighty Mouse.
Right.
So Sergio could very well get his chance. And I do
he
not
needs more
think...
time.
But they're going to push him, I'm telling you.
Yeah, because it's a weak division. It's a totally weak division.
Because John Jones just fought, this next fight ties Mighty Mouse again with the most fights. Like, it's defenses.
Defenses.
So he'll win the defenses. He'll beat, Anderson Silva for most defenses?
Right. John Jones, because he got stripped, isn't in that.
So that's his next fight we're about to see. Yeah, there's nowhere to go for Sergio, really. Even though we see a ton of fights for him, I just think there's nowhere for Mighty Mouse to go except Sergio. And he has a big enough name because of his brother.
First it's Borg, and then watch DJ's going to end up taking 3 months to 6 months off after that. And then it might be
There's some scary guys ahead for Sergio. Lineker Sergio?
Lineker's not at 125. I thought he went up to 35, unless he went back down.
He might have.
Yeah, I think he went up. Yeah, he went up. He went up. There's a couple people talking about going back down, but the only one I can know that is Gastelum. He's the only one I know that
talking about going back.
Yeah, about going back down. Everyone else has pretty much stayed when they've went up again.
Yeah, I guess Sergio, there's a couple guys in the rankings that he has to crawl up through. Well, let's see. Who's Sergio Pettis' next fight?
At 125. Ortiz is right there. They haven't fought yet. Ortiz just came off a huge knockout. They both, they can fight in 3 months because they're in this same slot together now.
I think that's a pretty good fight. That's a good Fox fight.
There's a lot, and Ortiz does have such credibility in there with so many other fighters he's fought that Pettis can use that, but that's a tough fight because it's takedown city coming. And in that first round, or was it second round for a split second, Sergio Pettis off of his back was nasty as hell for a split second. He ended up getting
up kick.
No, it wasn't only up kicks. He wrapped him up, got him in mission control, and ended up hooking Moreno's arm with his left leg over Moreno's.
We did.
And then got a sweep. It was fucking sweet. Sturgio's doesn't have a bad ground game, but I think that he was smart and was like, I'm not even gonna mess with that.
Kimura to an armbar or something.
It was something weird in there, but it was set up beautifully by Pettis. I remember being like, wow, he planned for this. He didn't go there. Definitely a good game plan by all of that camp. It was a great night of fights. We ended up having
rewatch this one, you guys.
How many finishes?
If you rewatch every fight on this whole card from beginning to end, it may take you 45 minutes.
Just the fights, cut all the other bullshit. I agree.
Maybe maybe not even that long.
It was a short night.
But the 2 last fights went to decision, so we have those 2, and maybe one more, maybe 45 minutes.
Exactly. Well, because those are 25-minute fights. Yeah, you'd be close. I agree. I think that's a good bet on that one.
All right, that is the Mexico City 114 recap. What else?
With the Mexico City, how do you feel that the cardio affected people? I guess there was so many finishes, we didn't really see any gas tanks really pushed most of the time.
But the ones that we did see go to the end, I didn't notice it as much for Pettis or Moreno. I did notice it for Ronda Marcos.
She slowed
I saw
down
her
a
in the
lot.
first
She
round
looked
take
fucking
breath like
amazing.
she couldn't catch her breath.
In the first 2 minutes, we looked at each other and said, "Uh-oh, Marcos is
gassed.
gassed." She took one big breath after a big flurry where I was like, "Ooh, if Marcos keeps this up," she looked amazing in that first round.
She would look next level.
Yeah, we were like, "Oh, if she can sustain this, Grasso's done," and then she didn't sustain it. Good call on that.
So JJ Rose, unless you wanted to talk about Mexico.
No, I think JJ Rose is the thing that I'm most excited for. Is there a date set on that, or is that a TBW or TBA?
I feel like they announced a 218 or something, 217. I don't want to. It's some pay-per-view in the future, but they did put a number to it.
Oh, okay. I think it is maybe the December time frame. Either way, we got enough time to chat about that one. What I just saw today, and I didn't get to read the article because we just came on the show right beforehand, was Pat Barry apparently being on the MMA Hour talking about his addiction. And Pat Barry's that number one Thug Rose sidekick. They've been together for a while. I don't think they've had issues. I think they've taken a step back, but they've grown in their relationship. But do you think that could affect the JJ Rose fight? Because we do know Rose is a little cerebral, and she's lost fights because she said my head wasn't in it.
It might be because it's all coming out now. It might be coming out now because he knows her so well that he's like, let's just get it all out there, babe, so it doesn't even affect you when the fight comes up.
It's a good call. It is far enough away.
He knows her better than anyone.
He does.
Her psychology going into her psyche going into the octagon, I feel like it might be that. He might be a whole different clean guy. That could be why we're seeing this resurgence of her amazingness, is because he's been clean for X amount of months or X amount of year or whatever. And that could be why we're seeing, because if she's battling, worrying about his addiction, that could be a big reason why we've always been worried about her psyche going into the octagon. But if she feels very confident in where he's at, we might get to see her just worry about her, which turns her into this next level fighter. Which I like.
point.
I think Shevchenko, I can't imagine anyone who's spending some time with Valentina Shevchenko and not getting some sort of positive role model rubbed off on them.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Next was, we know that
we know everything about Team Bullet here.
Exactly. We know that she's been working and giving nothing but accolades to Rose Namajunas and saying nothing but good things. And I think that Shevchenko is a very honest person, and she wouldn't just be bullshitting people. She calls it as it is, and Rose has notoriously been a good person and slick as hell in the training room and out. She's won by flying armbar. She has one of the first female flying armbars ever. Beautiful. And that was her second fight ever. So the potential's there. Shevchenko has beat JJ 3 times. If there's anybody who knows how to beat...
Three?
It was 3, yeah. 3 Muay Thai fights. So if there's any... I could be wrong. It could be 2. I thought it was 3.
It might be 3. No, I went... Yeah, it could be...
So if there's anyone who knows, hey, JJ's open here, here, and here in this specific avenue, Rose is learning that. And that could be a big step up. This is going to be one of the funner contested 115 bouts. Well, they all are.
I think Shevchenko, if Rose went to Valentina and said, do you think I'm ready to take this fight? I think Valentina would give her an honest answer.
I agree.
And Valentina does not cut weight. So she probably walks around maybe 10 pounds heavier than Rose, maybe 8 if she doesn't have to cut weight to get to 135. So fighting a woman a little bigger than her in Valentina and fighting somebody with so much skill, I'm interested in seeing Valentina and JJ fight still. So
Agreed.
Is Rose ready to take that fight? Valentina obviously felt like she was good enough somewhere to go train with her, and then choose her again after the Holly Holm fight, to choose her again for Amanda Nunes. That fight gets canceled, and guess where she's at again? At Elevation in Colorado with Rose again. So I feel like now you have both these women training together to potentially take belts. I think it's a very interesting story. I think their friendship could be something that we see for years to come. That becomes one of the, when they're fighting and they do the backstory with the Joe Rogan or the talkover, where it's like these women have been battling with each other for 6 years. Like they could be the DC Kane of the women's division.
I totally
like a love
agree.
story.
Yeah.
And then like bromance. But girls don't have like girlfriends, but not in
yeah.
but not in a lesbo kind
So
of way.
this is where earlier in the week where Eddie Bravo is listening to Lat B, he was talking about how women fighters can openly be gay and nobody gives a shit. It's just openly, and that is a direct steal from the show.
We've been talking about it from the beginning.
From the beginning, you heard it here first. Don't ever forget that.
It's not a big fucking deal for women fighters to be openly gay because you assume they are. That's why Misha Tate's and Ronda Rousey's are so exciting because everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're like a girly girl. Like, we love it.
Yep. So, I got a conspiracy for you. Eddie Bravo listens to Let Me.
Lesbo and the Beam.
So, any other Twitter talk? I got a couple, but I want to give you a shot. I feel like I brought.
We don't have a fight night until September 2nd, people. You're gonna have to, maybe
we got stuff for you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to tweet at us.
Yeah.
Give us some tweets, ask us some questions. We'll give you shout outs on air. We'll make matches if you have a person out there who doesn't have a fight coming up. Shout out your favorite fighters. We'll tell you who we think they should fight next. We'll try not to always make it Masvidal.
Yeah, right. So, I got a somewhat of an MMA talk. Have you heard about Paulie Malignaggi?
Oh, have I heard about him? I cannot turn on any of my favorite fight stuff without seeing him. He's the biggest star in UFC right now. Or MMA. He's the biggest star in MMA right now. He was all over the Ariel Helwani today.
Everything.
Just telling the story in detail. Ariel did not talk for
was it a push?
20 minutes.
Was it a push or a knockdown? What do you think?
See,
what do you think?
This is what's so weird. He says a push originally, but then he talks about these last 2 rounds where Conor, and he even says he got the best of me in those last 2 rounds. He had a lot more coming out in round 11 and 12 than I was expecting or something. Like, he doesn't go back into what happened and where the pictures actually come. It's vague. He gets vague in parts of it.
There's real photos of it. Like, he can't make it up.
If me and you were to get into a scuffle, even if I won, you could take the right series of pictures to make it look like you won. I don't know. Only one of us ends up on the ground. Only if one of us ends up on... I don't know. I think it's skeptical. He talks so much shit about McGregor way before McGregor ever took him on as a training partner. And it's like McGregor has the memory of an elephant. He never forgets. So the fact that Dana White was in the room, like he set up a whole expedition, like a boxing expedition for his friends to watch him. He's like, he thought he was going to beat me in front of all these people. But my conspiracy theory is that he was setting that shit up. He was setting it up with a real ref because he wanted to see legally what he could get away with inside the boxing ring. I think that's what he was learning.
He had a real ref in there. And I think it was a push. I didn't hear the Malignaggi on Ariel. Paulie. I didn't get to see or hear, but I have seen that a lot more of the story has come out. I could see it being a push, but I didn't know that he had retracted his statement. So he could have said it was a push.
There was a push involved
initially.
No, but even on Ariel.
Oh, okay.
But the way that the story laid out, and he went into so much detail, it didn't seem like the push came in the last 2 rounds. And he kept talking about how Conor got the best of him in the last 2 rounds, from the way I gathered the story. Right. And he was really detailed with it, like the whole entire time, the whole training camp.
Right.
And Ariel just shut the fuck up and let him talk.
If this is true, this is telling us that Conor is expecting to go out the first 4 rounds hard, take the next 4 rounds off, and then come at Floyd in the next 4 in a 12-round fight.
Yeah, and the other thing that Paulie said, it took him about 4.5 rounds to figure Conor out. And then he started piecing him apart and going to the body a lot with him. And he says he whimpers like a girl when you hit him in the body. And he started going to the body a lot. And then in the last 2 rounds, he was spent because of his long flight and whatever else, and he's out of shape and not in his prime and everything.
I would honestly think that as well. I'd be like, we know that he's been an announcer for a while. He's retired for a bit now, and he hasn't been training. So you get out of shape a whole lot faster than you get into shape. So I could see him being a little ring rusty, if you believe in that kind of stuff.
But
But
they had sparred a
it's
week before.
promising.
They went 8 rounds a week before.
I think it's promising. I think that for Connor, this is the absolute best thing that could have happened.
And now Malinagi's running his mouth all over.
Making
big
money,
old mouth.
charging for
Everyone
fees.
cares about him right now. He's on
Uh-huh.
every sports show right now.
Yep.
He gets to make a little bit of dough out of this. He's building a bigger name for himself. He started his own podcast. He's been all over with
Wonder
Brendan
who he
Schaub.
listens to.
He's all over with Fighter and the Kid. You know, he's doing all this other stuff. He's still with Showtime. So now, what Floyd and Connor have done is open up the third biggest mouth in sports to do free work for them while they really train and don't have to do any media shit. And Paulie is building hype for this fight unknowingly.
I'm gonna still watch it.
I know, but I just think Connor's
to,
next level thinking.
I'm gonna end up having to freaking actually buy that pay-per-view. I ain't end up gonna stream it. It's gonna be one of those that it's gonna be hard to get a link to, and it's just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna
This
fork
is
it
the
over.
reality. This is why I'm not going to try to get a link to it, and I'm going to buy the pay-per-view. Yeah, you heard it, everyone.
Ooh.
Money Mayweather Dana. We won't be happy streaming.
Oh.
We will be spending money to get the fight.
The $20
because,
bucks, the UK bucks, the 20 UK bucks.
When Mayweather versus Pacquiao happened, so many people downloaded that fight right before the main event started
Yep.
that they had to delay the fight to even start for like 30 or 45 minutes because they were having a problem keeping stream. So I don't want to battle with my internet connection
Yep.
with every other asshole trying to
You want a
illegally
hard
stream.
line.
Yes, I want a hard line to it, and then that way if it cuts out or does any bullshit, I'll just get money back.
Yeah, exactly. Call them up and be like, hey,
This
Mofos.
is bullshit.
Yep,
And
because
you
it
can
is.
usually do that. I'll press a button right on my little
A
box.
complaint box.
Yep.
You can take my order.
Be like, oh, it cut out in the middle.
How long, much longer until we can just press on the box? Can you give me that Taco Bell? Can you give me the crispy fried chicken piece and just send it to my house? Then a delivery truck shows up and gives you that out of that same box you can complain into.
It probably won't be too long at all. They
It
have
really
an
won't
app
be.
for all that stuff on your phone.
Yep.
Every single one of those things.
You'll
and they
be
have
asking.
Uber for your food, so you can get everything delivered to your house anyway.
Really?
Yeah,
I am lazy as hell. I might.
they have Uber for food, so you can get stuff delivered from any restaurant.
Damn. And if you're home listening to the show, like you likely
Uber
are,
for
you're
food
gonna need
seems
food.
better. Like if I were gonna do Uber, because I get creeped out by strangers, even if they gave their credit card or some fake card or
Mhm.
whatever. But dropping off people's food, just picking it up from a restaurant
Yeah.
and dropping it off.
Yep.
Easy perch, easy for a second job.
Easy. It is. It is.
So if you guys are looking now a way to make some extra dough to buy some Lesbo and the Bean t-shirts, then you can go out there and Uber some food. Just kidding. Just kidding. Dick move. Yeah, I thought I was going to bring up Polly on the MMA Hour too.
Oh, perfect. Well, with the dick move, I was just going to say that, how do you feel about me flipping a coin, and if it lands on tails, I'm going to show the world my dick.
Oh, this is
What do you
something
think?
that you have a problem with. Explain the whole story.
What do you
to
think? What do you
everyone.
think about that? Is that a good call? Like, does that make me cool? Because if you haven't heard, B-Shop, Big Brown Breakdown, Brendan Schaub, was saying that he's so confident in the fight going 12 rounds, right? Just going 12 rounds, not win or lose, that if it doesn't, he's going to send a dick pic out to somebody.
Well, it started out with some other broadcaster that said, and I don't think it's just about the 12 rounds. It was that Conor won't win a round, and it's not even that he won't even win a round, he won't even land a punch. And Brendan was like, you are crazy. Like, now you're disrespecting my boy. I'm so confident in the fact that he'll not only land a punch, he'll win one round. I'll bet $100,000 on it. Come on, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
So the guy didn't want to take the bet at all. And he was like, no, I'm not getting involved in that. I can't, with gambling and blah, blah, blah.
Sure,
so
my credentials.
So then Brendan's like, well, how about we trade dick pics?
So what I gotta
or
say
some
is,
shit like that. Or how about I send you a dick pic if something like that.
there is 1,000,001 guys, 1,000,001 guys on this planet that are willing to send you a dick pic at the drop of a hat. Do not think at any point in time that your dick pic you can hold at some sort of ransom or is worth something. There's billions of them out there, homie. Nobody's like, ooh, I got this. I don't know. Maybe there isn't some people that do it, but they think that's a niche field. And
Apparently, J-Shop Brennan's
Yep.
brother, has like a baby Hagoso. Like he has a full
Like a-
baby's like it'd
like
be
a tuna
impressive.
can?
Like the game.
Oh, okay.
He's got the game going on. Apparently he has an eggplant.
So he's gonna put his brothers. It's gonna be another. It's not gonna be
well,
him.
I think Brennan Schaub even said it. He goes, my mom was upset when she saw that, but I'm like, I didn't tell you it was gonna be my dick.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
just
the
some
first
random dick. I'll send you a
Oh,
fucking inverted mushroom.
And he's like, "Hey, bro, let's go play some basketball." Oh, you got all sweaty. Want to shower at my house? Open shower. Take a pic.
Or D pants basketball shorts.
Oh, there you
Basketball
go.
shorts were made to be
That's how to
D-pants.
set them up. Yeah,
Those big
true.
little shorts.
True.
I'm surprised they even stay up as is.
That's a good point. How come everybody wears them all the time, nonstop, all day, every day? But some basketball guys doesn't make sense. To me.
I see. I never see
Like
basketball
it's like
guys wearing them.
classy, or people think it's classier.
I don't. The people that I see wearing them are white guys with bellies in Walmart.
And tank tops.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm saying.
Farmer's tanned arms, but it's the kind of farmer's tan where it's like beet red and then pale white.
And you got the slippers that are the like sandals, the open toe sandals with socks on.
The white chocolates.
No, but they're not chanclas. But
No,
they're
I
like,
know.
but yeah, they're like Nikes or
Like
Adidas.
the soccer sandals.
Yes. Like the full on covers the front of the
Or
foot,
some
except
like
the toes.
crazy ass geeky no name big old sneaker.
Oh, Goodwill. Those are Goodwill sneakers. That's why they're the Goodwill sneakers.
But those are who I see wear basketball shorts. Unless you're on a basketball court, to me it's never a good look. Never a good look.
So, have
Girls
you?
always look like cholas. If you ever see a girl in basketball shorts, she always has a tight ponytail.
I agree. And fake eyebrows.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, totally drawn on eyebrows, red ass lips, and you're like, oh shit. And you're actually more scared of her than the big white dude you saw wearing them in Walmart. You're like, oh shit, this don't even make eye
Yeah,
contact
trouble.
with this
That's
girl.
trouble coming at you. You watched anything good lately as of late?
You know I'm
other
up to
than-
date on Game of Thrones.
Oh, and last night, I guess no spoilers, but one of the best episodes of all time. You need to get on that
I feel like
again
it was
and
one
watch
of the
it.
best. I was thinking about it again. One of the best episodes of TV of all time. I think it was really all. It gave us. It almost gave, because of how slow the pace of the show has worked.
Yes.
I almost felt like an overload. I
agree.
felt like
What are
the
fights?
finale of the show could have ended, and I won't give anything away, but to me, the finale of last night's episode, they could have had more filler, and the finale could have ended after the fight scene between Brienne
Yeah,
and
they
Arya.
still kept going. They still kept. Yeah.
That was enough for me. I was
I
so
agree.
satisfied by that dance. If you haven't seen it, and I'm sure you can find just the fight scene edited somewhere on YouTube now, one of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. Better than any lightsaber fight scene, better than any old medieval. It was just
Peter's
brilliant.
gonna be up in a fit. Peter's gonna be up in a fit.
Yeah, but
it's
I
gonna be
want to
good
hear
times.
something that no horse was harmed in the shooting.
It was
of
all
that.
CGI. It was all CGI.
It all had to have been. Because
Yeah.
horse falls hurt my heart. In some countries, it's not illegal to horse fall.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of countries it is.
Where
but-
did you know where they filmed GFT or where they did
Gosh,
film
I
it?
feel like New Zealand and Ireland.
That's where they're always going for this stuff now.
For
It's
some
New
reason,
Zealand.
I feel like that Dragon Rock cave that they're walking on the beach on, I feel like that's in Ireland. I don't know at all.
I don't know either.
There is a bazillion Game of Thrones podcast you can get into out there.
Yeah, true.
And know the details, so they will be like, they will have anarchy in the UK. It'd be like if we turned into a Game of Thrones podcast and they were talking about Ronda Rousey. We'd be like, what the fuck? Ronda Rousey's the best fighter a woman's ever been in, we'd be like,
Right. I haven't. Well, I've caught up on a lot of new stuff, but the one I would recommend is I recently watched an old goodie classic, and if you guys haven't seen it, I'm just going in the throwback and recommending Idiocracy. It is such a gem of a movie. If you didn't get it the first time around, maybe now after a few years that it's been out, it makes more sense, especially where we're at and how things keep going the way they're going. I feel like that movie is a.
it's almost like a
omen.
1984.
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of in that vein of futuristic Running Man.
And it's coming.
Where you're like, holy shit, this is happening now.
We can choose to go both ways right now. So that's where I'm gonna say as of late. Watch it again. It is so much funnier the second time
No,
around.
I'm trying to think. I caught up. Bill Maher came back. I'm not a fucking Bill Maher fan, but I like talk radio. I watch a couple people on YouTube. There is a guy I really like, you guys, if you're looking for other MMA stuff to watch on YouTube or listen to. There's a guy called Mind Smash, and he just breaks down stare down. Some of his videos are a little corny. But he breaks down stuff that people may do, like drop their shoulders, and how that's a lack of confidence, or break eye contact, or take a deep breath when they say something. And all of his videos are pretty interesting, and there is some stuff of watching the stare downs in slow motion that I find intriguing. So if you guys are looking for something new out there to listen to, I've been getting in a little Mind Smash, still listening to The Weasel.
Nice. I really recommend Resnick. I don't know if I've said that before on here. He's a guy who gathers old eggs, and he goes, his subscription name is like Resnick Boxing. He gathers old boxing footage and turns it into the highest definition that he can with his equipment, which really brings old fighters to life, where their technique is actually shown. Where it used to be blurry, he's showing you like, no, like it looks like a modern day fight. It's awesome. I really recommend it. He puts really good montages of like really good boxing combinations and brings up names of classic fighters. Really good, fun stuff. What are some recommendations that you guys are watching? What are some stuff that you guys would say that you've had fun with online? Let us know.
Yeah, you can let us know at Lesbo and the Bean. For all things Lesbo and the Bean, lesboandthebean.com.
That's Lesbo and the Bean!